After bringing down Stormfront, the boys disband. Sort of. Huey works with Congresswoman Victoria Newman at the Bureau of Superhuman Affairs. Pays more attention to his daughter, while the rest of the team help the Bureau find criminal superhumans. At the Bureau, Tony, an old friend of Victoria's, shows up addressing her by another name, Nadia, which reveals suspicion of a secret past. However, Tony's taken out before he can cause a scene. During a meeting with Robert Singer, the Secretary of Defense, Edgar introduces V-24, a temporary variant of Compound V, which Robert could use for military application. There, he also confesses his regrets for venturing into the superhero business, and promises to return his company to its original vision of being a pharmaceutical business. Later that day, Edgar decides to make Starlight co-captain of the Seven, overriding Homelander's wishes. Afterward, he goes over to the hospital to see Stormfront. It turns out she survived the attack on her, but is brutally maimed. Elsewhere, Butcher gets a discreet visit from Maeve, who tells him about a potential Homelander killing weapon. She then hands him a file containing everything about Soldier Boy's death and his old superhero team called Payback, which consisted of Crimson Countess, Black Noir, Soldier Boy, Gunpowder, Mindstorm, Swatto, and the TNT Twins. She also hands him some temporary Compound V, telling him that he might need it to find and interrogate the Payback team about the weapon that killed Soldier Boy. Later that night, while on his way home, Huey witnesses Victoria killing Tony and realizes she's the head popper. Huey reveals Victoria's identity to Starlight, and they run an investigation that leads them to an orphanage for soup kids. There, they find an old video of the day Edgar adopted Victoria. Meanwhile, Butcher visits asking him to return back the fold. But it's revealed that Soldier Boy killed MM's family as a child. So though he turns down Butcher's invitation, he hands him one of the files he has on Soldier Boy. When Butcher then finds Gunpowder, he doesn't get anything from the soup and even gets attacked. Nevertheless, he manages to escape before he's killed. At a rooftop, a girl attempts to commit suicide when Homelander shows up to talk her out of it. In a tragic twist, he learns of Stormfront's suicide while he's up there and forces the girl to jump off when she changes her mind. After confessing his recent breakdown to his ex-wife, is told to return to Butcher. Butcher, on the other hand, has returned home and is treating his wounds, when Huey tells him over a phone call that Victoria is the head popper soup. Butcher, who has been struggling with taking the temporary V, decides to go for it. He revisits Gunpowder, overpowering him this time. He gets all the information he can get on Soldier Boy, including Grace Mallory's involvement, before killing Gunpowder with his recently gained laser eyes. During Homelander's birthday celebration, he makes a public speech in revolt of his perceived treatment from Vought's board, inadvertently upping his ratings. Meanwhile, the boys are back together. In order to allay Victoria's suspicion why he's not coming to work, Huey asks Kimiko to break his hand, which she does. Butcher informs the team that they'll be paying Grace a visit, but Frenchie drops out after getting a call from Sherry, a former associate of his. Back at Vought, things aren't going well for Starlight. Alex, an old friend of hers, has decided to join the Seven against her wishes, and Homelander picks the Deep for the second slot. His new improved ratings prompt him to ignore Starlight's threat about the plane video. He even threatens to go on an unstoppable killing rampage if she releases the video. Eventually, she's forced to ride along with him. At Grace's place, the boys learn about Nicaragua, her encounter with Payback, and the start of her feud with the Soups after they had killed hundreds of her men. However, she doesn't know anything about Soldier Boy's death. On their way out, Ryan, who's been hiding from Homelander with Grace all this time, gets angry that Butcher's leaving him and stops him with his powers. However, Butcher overreacts, damaging his relationship with the boy. Meanwhile, Frenchie gets captured by Little Nina, who needs info on Sherry for stealing products from her. On getting back to base, Frenchie tells Butcher about Little Nina, and Butcher sees it as an opportunity to infiltrate Russia for the soup weapon that can possibly kill Homelander. Frenchie takes Butcher to Little Nina, allowing Butcher to cut an agreement with her, and they then head over to Russia. On getting there, Butcher tells the team that he agreed to carry out an assassination in return for info on the weapon's location. Back at Vought, Starlight tries to get more people on her side to fight Homelander. She lets Alex in on her plan, and Alex in turn tells A-Train. In Russia, Kimiko completes the assassination, returns with proof, and they get the weapon's location. Acting on Edgar's instructions, Newman holds a press conference intending to call out and sanction Homelander for his outburst the last time. However, in an unexpected twist, she turns against her surrogate father, Edgar, providing proof of alleged crimes that kick him out of the company, while Homelander takes his place as chairman of Vought. Later that night, Homelander visits Newman, and it's revealed she had stuck an earlier agreement from some Compound V for her daughter. Back in Russia, the boys are attacked by security when they infiltrate the weapon's location. With the team almost dying, Butcher and Huey, who had stolen some V-24 from Butcher, are forced to use their powers to the team's chagrin. There, the team realizes that there was no weapon and that Soldier Boy is still alive. Butcher lets him out, and he becomes unstable, almost killing Frenchie with a nuclear blast. However, Kimiko takes the full blast, getting injured and losing her powers in the process. After getting wind of Starlight's plan, Homelander kills Alex and shows Starlight his gruesomely mutilated body and threatens that Huey is next, if she doesn't fall in line. A few videos were found in the lab, showing the experiment the Russians did on Soldier Boy. On getting back to New York, MM and Frenchie take Kimiko to the hospital. Later, Huey tells Starlight about Soldier Boy's existence, and Butcher gets more V-24. At the hospital, the next morning, little Nina shows up giving Frenchie an assassination assignment, but Frenchie turns it down. He returns to Kimiko's room to find her awake. On the streets of New York, Soldier Boy's PTSD manifests when he hears a Russian song. As a result, he goes nuclear, killing lots of people. MM then finds out about the attack and meets up with Butcher and Huey. They go over to the Legend, the former VP of Hero Management at Vought, and learn that Soldier Boy had just been there for Countess's address. At Vought, Homelander locks Maeve up after finding out that she's also part of the conspiracy to overthrow him. Back at the hospital, Frenchie gets captured by Nina after stepping out to grab coffee. Meanwhile, Butcher, MM, and Huey get to Countess before Soldier Boy and tie her up as a gift. Starlight arrives at the scene after getting a call from MM. To successfully enact his plan of working with Soldier Boy, Butcher drugs MM, who would have never gone with the plan. When Soldier Boy arrives, he and Butcher reach an agreement. Butcher will help him find his old comrades, while he helps Butcher take out Homelander. Afterward, Soldier Boy kills Countess, and the boys get separated. Huey and Butcher following Soldier Boy while MM and Starlight get left behind. While she's still disturbed by Frenchie's prolonged absence, Kimiko gets kidnapped by Nina's men. When she comes to, she finds herself bound to a chair, sitting right beside the captured Sherry. Nina walks in with Frenchie as her captive and asks him to choose which of the women will die. Unable to make a decision, Nina orders her men to kill Kimiko. However, Kimiko's able to get free, and she gets into a bloody, gruesome fight that leaves her spent with a freshly opened wound. Meanwhile, Starlight and MM arrive at the TNT twins' house, only to discover it's being host to the 70th anniversary of Herogasm, a wild orgy of supes and humans alike. Soldier Boy, Butcher, and Huey arrive a couple of minutes later. To prevent a massacre, Huey goes to isolate the twins for Soldier Boy. However, it doesn't work. Soldier Boy comes in, kills the twins, and wreaks massive collateral damage. Soon after, Homelander arrives and a fight breaks out between him, Soldier Boy, Butcher, and Huey. With Butcher and Huey souped up by V-24, the fight is far from what Homelander expected. They almost get him, but he escapes just in time. Meanwhile, A-Train uses the chaos and death to kill Blue Hawk, a racist soup vigilante. Outside in the midst of the rubble and the litter of wounded and dead bodies, Starlight makes a video revealing the truth about Soldier Boy that Vought Media had been hiding. She also lets people know superheroes don't care about Americans, and then proceeds to abandon her role as Starlight. At Vought, Homelander visits Maeve. There, he tells her that he's keeping her alive to harvest her eggs so that he can give birth to strong soup children. At Starlight's house, Kimiko asks Starlight for Compound V after almost losing Frenchie in the fight with Nina's men. Meanwhile, Butcher and Huey find Soldier Boy's next victim, Mindstorm. Soldier Boy warns them against making eye contact with Mindstorm, but Butcher accidentally does and gets imprisoned in his own memories. Huey and Soldier Boy carry on the search for Mindstorm. Fortuitously, Frenchie finds out that Mindstorm's glare actually put Soldier Boy to sleep. Back at Vought, Starlight does get the Compound V, but on her way out, she discovers to her horror that V-24 becomes fatal after 3 to 5 doses. Meanwhile, Huey finds Mindstorm and teleports him away, just when Soldier Boy is about to kill him. Bringing Mindstorm back to where Butcher lies, he begs Mindstorm to free Butcher. In exchange for his help, Huey promises to teleport him to a place where he'll be safe from Soldier Boy. Mindstorm agrees and frees Butcher. However, Soldier Boy shows up and kills Mindstorm before Huey can fulfill his promise. When they get back from the mission, Starlight calls Butcher, telling him about the fatal side effects of the Temp V. Homelander then locates Ryan with Newman's help and helps her orchestrate a move to become vice president of the country. Meanwhile, Vought's HQ is being rocked by volumes of protests about Maeve's whereabouts. In response, Ashley has Maeve drugged and transported out of Vought, but she eventually escapes. To stop Huey from taking another dose of V-24, Butcher knocks him out. After discovering that Soldier Boy is his father, Homelander kills Black Noir for holding back the info. Meanwhile, the rest of the team, including Maeve, find Butcher and Soldier Boy. As Huey tries to talk Butcher out of heading toward the Vought Tower, Maeve throws out the neurotoxin that would have knocked Soldier Boy out. and proceeds to lock and the rest in the vault to prevent them from interfering with their plan to kill Homelander. But Kimiko eventually breaks down the door, and they head over to Vought with Frenchie, planning to make a new neurotoxin in Vought's lab. However, Butcher turns against Soldier Boy when he almost hurts Ryan, while Maeve gets into a fight with Homelander. Soldier Boy then loses control and almost kills everybody until Maeve intervenes, jumping off the top floor of Vought's HQ with Soldier Boy using his nuclear attack. Afterward, she loses her power. Meanwhile, Ryan decides to stay with Homelander. At the aftermath of the explosion at Vought, Grace brings Soldier Boy in and puts him under heavy sedation. After a few days, Butcher learns that he only has 12 to 18 months to live, as the Temp V starts to take its toll on him.